From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Hey everyone, happy Monday, November 15th, 2021. Welcome to the latest in the Practitioner Brief / cybersecurity news here. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you for everyone who's tuning in wherever you may be in the globe. Make sure to subscribe, smash the subscribe button, smash it. Give it a heart, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating if you're listening on your favorite podcast listening platform. And if you're following us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Twitch, please make sure to turn on the notification when you do subscribe so that way you get notified every time we go live. We're in the midst of Veteran November. Great episodes coming today. My good friend Josh Mason will be on at 2 p.m. today. You don't want to miss it. Definitely a worthwhile episode in Veteran November. As we come to the tail end, we'll be done with it by the end of this week before we head into Thanksgiving break. We've got a very busy show today, including fake emails sent from FBI addresses. Microsoft is warning of a surge in HTML data compromise. North Korea is starting to target cybersecurity researchers yet again. A Zoom patch and a Windows flaw with a barely good patch. So we're going to talk about that here towards the end of the show as well. For everyone tuning in, let's get to some of your comments before we drink some coffee today. Good morning to David Moalam, who's with us. And happy Monday for Mr. McQuiggan, who's joining us from Copenhagen. I hope you had a safe journey, good sir, and staying healthy. Mr. Dave is with us. Happy Monday to all, even James McQuiggan. Oh, man, I love it. Well, whatever you're drinking this morning, on Monday, I need an extra dose of coffee, extra dose of coffee. I've got my double espresso. Whatever you're drinking, put it in the comments. Let me know. Coffee cup cheers, folks. All right, before we move on, though, today's show would not be possible without our friends over at KnowBe4, so make sure to check them out as well. You can see more about them in the show notes. Now, we'll start off with this story. Thousands of fake emails have been coming from an FBI email address that was sent out on Friday by someone who exploited a vulnerability in a law enforcement portal. The FBI has confirmed the breach and said the impact was limited. Spamhaus reported seeing more than 100,000 fake emails being sent out in 2 waves. The hoax emails coming from eims@ic.fbi.com carried the subject line urgent threat actor in systems. The message appeared to come from the DHS, and it informed recipients about the exfiltration of several of their virtualized clusters in a sophisticated chain attack. The emails claimed the threat actor was identified as Vinny Troya. Troya is a security researcher who claimed to have been targeted numerous times by some cybersecurity criminals for exposing them. Troya said on Twitter he suspected an individual who uses the online moniker Pompor_IN was behind the attack. He said the individual is associated with a cybercrime group named the Dark Overlord, whose alleged members were exposed in a report published last year by Troya's company, Nightline Security. Indeed, an individual with the online nickname Pomporian contacted security blogger Brian Krebs shortly after the fake FBI emails were sent out, taking credit for the attack. In a statement issued on Sunday, the FBI said the emails were sent out by someone who leveraged a software misconfiguration affecting the law enforcement enterprises portal, which is used by the agency to communicate with state and local law enforcement officials. They've exploited the vulnerability. And, they sent it from .com, even though I think it came from a .gov, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it came from a .gov, even though the article here says .com. It did come from a .gov. And what a way to get the FBI on your back. Really just wonderful. Good morning to Bob Henderson. For those who don't know, that there's one thing you don't do is you don't push your luck with the FBI. Whoever this guy is, I wish him that he hunkers down somewhere and sticks around. And I hope he's in a country that doesn't extradite because you're on FBI's most wanted list at this point. And those guys don't stop until they get you. And they've got patience. So good luck to Pomporian, who, based on a grudge, got the FBI involved. Real smart. Well done. We'll move to another story where Microsoft warns of a surge in HTML smuggling phishing attacks. All right, let me go back to this for just a second here. They discovered a vulnerability. Instead of reporting it to the FBI and making friends, they decided to take advantage of it and try to frame someone else for it. Not very smart, but it also lets you know cybersecurity is a difficult business. It is difficult because even the FBI can have vulnerabilities. Yes, no one's 100% secure. You can never be 100% secure. Anyone who says otherwise is fooling you. This was a coordinated, this was a attack with some spaz to it, some finesse, and there it is. Now we'll go to this story where Microsoft is warning of a surge in HTML smuggling phishing attacks. Microsoft is seeing a surge in malware campaigns that use HTML smuggling to distribute banking malware and remote access Trojans. While HTML smuggling is not a new technique, Microsoft is seeing it increasingly used by threat actors to evade detection, including the Nobilium hacking group, which is behind the SolarWinds attack. HTML smuggling is a technique used in phishing campaigns that use HTML5 and JavaScript to hide malicious payload and encoded strings in an HTML attachment or web page. These strings are then decoded by a browser when a user opens the attachment or clicks a link. For example, phishing email attachments could include a harmless link to a known website, thus being seen as malicious. However, when a user clicks on the link, JavaScript will decode an included encrypted or encoded string and convert it to a malicious attachment that is downloaded instead, as shown below. Since the payload is encoded initially, it looks harmless to security software. It's not detected as malicious. JavaScript assembles the payload on the target system. It bypasses any firewalls and security defenses that would usually catch the malicious file on the perimeter, adding why you need an additional security control on the back end of that. Can't just rely that if you put a guard at the door that whatever gets in is safe. You've kind of got to imply the whole concept of, all right, that's one layer, defense in depth. Let's go to the second. How do we detect if something got through? Microsoft researchers have seen this technique used in the Mikatio campaigns that delivers banking Trojans and is highly targeted, and is also highly targeted Nobilium attacks. So keep your eyes out for it. How to defend against HTML smuggling. Microsoft suggests admins use behavior rules to check for common characteristics of HTML smuggling, including an attached zipped file containing Java. An attachment is password protected. An HTML file contains a suspicious script, and an HTML file decodes a base 64 code or obfuscated a JavaScript. For endpoints, admin should block or audit activity associated with HTML smuggling, including block Java or VP script from launching downloaded executable content, block execution of potentially obfuscated scripts, and block executable files from running unless they meet a prevalence age or trust list criterion, all that are very important here. So keep your eyes out for that one, folks. We'll move on where North Korea is targeting cybersecurity researchers with a Trojanized IDA Pro. So Lazarus Group is attempting to once again target security researchers with backdoor and remote access Trojans using a Trojanized pirated version of the popular IDA Pro reverse engineering software. The findings were first reported by ESET security researchers Anton Cherpanov last week in a series of tweets. IDA Pro is an interactive disassembler that's designed to translate machine language into assembly language, enabling security researchers to analyze the inner workings of a program, as well as function as a debugger to detect errors. Attackers bundled the original IDA Pro 7.5 software developed by Hexrays with two malicious components, and one of which is an internal module called win_fw.dll that's executed during installation of the app. This tampered version is then orchestrated to load a second component named IDA helper.dll from the IDA plugin folder on the system. Upon successful execution, the IDA helper binary connects to a remote server to retrieve subsequent payloads. The domain is also notable for the fact that it's been previously linked to similar North Korean-based campaigns. Now, one might ask yourself, why is North Korea going after researchers? Well, one, they find 0 days and vulnerabilities before anyone else. So why work hard looking for them when you can just, get the guys who are actively doing it and take advantage of what they're finding? North Korea is growing from an espionage perspective. It also helps them launch ransomware attacks, which their main goal here, folks, is financial gain. So keep that in mind. Zoom has shipped patches for high-severity vulnerability that expose enterprise users to remote code execution and command injection attacks. The patch is already available. The CVSS base score for CVE 2021-34417 is 7.9. It affects multiple Zoom software components: Zoom on-premise meeting connector controller, Zoom on-premise meeting connector MMR, Zoom on-premise recording connector, and Zoom on-premise virtual room connector. The second high severity bulletin was also released with patches for CV 2021-34422, a path traversal bug affecting Keybase clients for Windows. Zoom does not have automatic update mechanisms. Users are urged to go and do the manual patch on your Zoom system. Might be helpful to do that early on today, so you don't interrupt a day of calls for everyone, because we all live on Zoom or Teams nowadays. Researchers show Windows flaw more serious after a Microsoft release was an incomplete patch. Our last story of the day. We constantly talk about patching, but what happens when a patch is released and it's incomplete? How do you evaluate it? This is one of the things that is a constant back and forth between security practitioners and then IT and technology teams who are in charge of really deploying the patch. And this is where a little bit of back and forth is required. CVE 2021-34484, the bug is described by Microsoft as a window user profile service elevation of privileges, and it requires local authenticated access for exploitation. All versions of Windows, including Windows servers, are affected by this. The security error resides in the user profile service, affecting code design for creating a temporary user profile folder when the original profile folder is damaged. Microsoft's incomplete patch for the issue could be easily bypassed with only a small change in the attacker script. This is according to Abdelhamid Nasiri, a security researcher who discovered the vulnerability. The security error appears to have a greater impact than Microsoft's initial assessment of it, as it could allow an attacker logged in as a regular user to execute code with system privileges. Microsoft's fix checked whether a symbolic link was used for the destination folder and aborted the operation. If so, an attacker looking to exploit the vulnerability needs to win a race condition and possibly obtain additional user credentials than the ones they are logged into, meaning it's not impossible, but it's very hard to take advantage of this. But the incomplete patch has definitely left people more vulnerable than they are secure. So keeping that in mind. That's it for our security brief today, folks, our practitioner brief. We'll be back with a lot more tomorrow right here live at 9 a.m. Today at 2 p.m., another great episode of Veteran November. Again, this month is shorter. If you haven't checked out the episodes over the weekend, John Dela Cruz, Brittany Kennedy Homertime, the Beast over Cardinal Health, John Dela Cruz, and finally, Dutch Schwartz yesterday. We're all on the show. Go and check it out. You can find it on YouTube or on your favorite podcast listening platform. You can look up CyberHub Podcast or CISO Talk to catch that. I've also got a new CISO Talk episode dropping tomorrow, another great live panel that we did in September with my good friend Carl Scafidi, the CISO over at Incom Payments, and Chuck Everett, the security evangelist over at Deep Instinct. What an insightful conversation. You don't want to miss it. 30 minutes of a lot of shenanigans and fun. So don't miss that out as well. Until tomorrow, where we'll be back here again with another practitioner brief, folks. Have a great Monday. Have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.